The sit-at-home order was initiated as a substitute to protests.
When we're talking about sit-at-home, have we looked at the social, political, and economic, particularly the economic implications of this sit-at-home?
Monday is only like a very particular day. Even if you don't work throughout the day, but Monday you need to work.
In a region where people depend on what they make on daily basis to feed, the truck pusher, the carpenter, the bricklayer, the pure water seller.
I still believe that if that's what they need to do to get rid of injustice in Nigeria, let it be.
Government should know what to do to stop this sit-at-home because it's affecting us.
Hello viewers, it is indeed another interesting episode of Views and Opinion on MCCP TV where your voice matters. On today's episode of Views and Opinion, our focus is on Anambra State gubernatorial election and sit-at-home order by IPOB. We all know about the upcoming heavily contested gubernatorial election in Anambra State and 1 week IPOB sit-at-home order and their threats that election must not hold. We want to examine in this episode of Views and Opinion the implication of sit-at-home order and the anticipated outcome of Anambra gubernatorial election. The federal government has insisted that the election must hold in Anambra State despite the threats by IPOB. It seems the battle line has been drawn and Anambra State is once again an arena where gladiators clash. What does this hold for the country, Nigeria, and the people of Anambra State, in extension, southeastern region? All this and more is what we have for you on today's episode of Views and Opinion on MCCP TV. Please do not go away. We'll be right back.
I understand that perhaps I'm not speaking for IPOB. I'm a political scientist and I try to be very objective about, my views and opinion about what is going on. I understand that all of this is an attempt to elicit attention. It is what we would in political science call civil disobedience. But it is civil disobedience that is allowable, that is legal, that it is constitutional in a democracy. But unfortunately, Nigerian government of Buhari's regime, and I know why I say regime, has looked at some of these things from a point of view of a dominator, a relationship between the dominator and the dominated, which it ought not to be in a democracy, because even the dominator in a democracy must have a voice. And I think that IPOB is basically trying to be heard and to be taken seriously. I may quarrel with perhaps some of the approaches that they have taken or they have been taken, but I must say that it is a legitimate course of action, because in a democracy, there is a saying that the minority must have their say, but majority must have its way.
The sit-at-home order was initiated as a substitute to protests, open protests, which is a constitutional and legal activity. But because the protests in our country, Nigeria, became unacceptable, even though constitutional and legal, but all of a sudden became unacceptable to the people in power. Then the masses, via the IPOB, initiated a substitute. Instead of coming out and being killed, they decided to sit at home, which is still an expression of public opinion. If you like, you put it a kind of means of expressing their opinion to the government. So instead of open protests, which you will be exposed to danger. They adopted the substitute,
Which is sit-at-home.
sit-at-home, which is, if you ask me, I would say it's illegal and unconstitutional. But when legality is being stampeded by selfish interests, then illegality must thrive.
I may quarrel with some of the approaches of the IPOB. Sometimes people think that I'm too critical of IPOB, but I'm speaking from the position of a political scientist that, yes, agitation, but agitation is not, agitating in a manner that becomes rather counterproductive. You're talking about sit at home. I know you are not asking that question, but it is implicit. When we're talking about sit at home, have we looked at the social, political, and economic, particularly the economic implications of this sit at home? Anambra people that we know are those that live their lives, in buying and selling. And when you close Anambra, for example, I was told that I had listened to one of the IPOB things that we're talking about, there will be closure of sit at home for 5 days and somebody for 1 week. And I'm like, how are we talking about 1 week in a region where people depend on what they make on daily basis to feed? The truck pusher, the carpenter, the bricklayer, the pure water seller, the plantain and corn roaster by the corner of the street, the newspaper vendor, the people who do these things just to feed their children. And you are saying that you're going to sit at home for 5 days. And that begins to make me wonder whether we have been infiltrated. Because it is possible that the Igbos may have been infiltrated where our enemies are taking cover under our sit at home to basically destroy the economy of the Southeast, or perhaps the economy of the Igbos, wherever they are, particularly those within the Southeast. So what is the gain of this sit at home if it is such that will become counterproductive? There are a lot of people that I know of that maybe they make 3,000 naira a day. 3,000 naira a day for a man that has 5 children, that has to pay school fees, has to buy books, has to pay rent, and you tell him to sit at home for 5 days, 3 times 5 is 15,000 naira. How is this person going to survive? How are the kids going to survive? So definitely, when IPOB start talking about this stretch out sit at home, I begin to wonder where this information is coming from. That's why I was talking in terms of whether we have been penetrated or infiltrated by our enemies who are now using this IPOB sit at home to undermine the economy of the Southeast, because it is totally counterproductive, because it's not going to help us anyway. We will sit at home for 5 days. Think about that. I mean, who is thinking for our IPOB? Who are we taking his orders? Even while we're talking about 5 days of sit at home, there are people who are saying that the information is coming from unknown sources who have claimed to be IPOB. So if IPOB loves Igbos, why would IPOB punish Igbos, by putting them in this kind of stretch of sitting at home? And yes, for the whole 1 week. And I'm saying, if you love Igbos and you are interested in, you have interest of the Igbos at heart, this long stretch of sit at home, I think it is becoming somewhat mind-boggling, if not useless.
I'm a student in Imo State University, and that Monday sit at home, usually Monday is supposed to be the most like a very busy day, a day that people supposed to take serious, because the Monday starts the week, and we have to start the week with a serious mindset. But having to sit down at home on Mondays is a big turn off, because how can the Monday start the week and you just use Monday to sit at home and do nothing?
Monday is meant to be the most productive day of the week, because that's the beginning of the week. So we are meant to put in, there are more efforts on Monday than any other day of the week. So it has destabilized our economy. And now as a student, there are major things that we have in school on Monday. Like on Monday now, our timetable for exam has been shifted because of that sit at home. Last week Monday I came out, I could not get anything. Everywhere was just empty. Like it has it has just destabilized our economy very much. But I still believe that if that's what they need to do to get rid of injustice in Nigeria, let it be done.
Apart from university students, the secondary school students, the primary people, it's affecting them too. Because when you teach them one day, the next day sit at home, the other day come, when they resume the school, they'll forget the one you have taught them. So for my own idea, it's not welcome. Please, government should know what to do to stop this sit at home because it's affecting us. No, apart from the students, also the business people, it's affecting them because some of them depend on dairy sales. After sales, they will eat. For that day we sit at, what are they going to eat? So for my own opinion, it's not welcome.
The government has lost control to issue instruction and people will obey it because government will ask people, come out. IPOB will say sit at home. People will obey IPOB.
Yes.
Because it is obvious that if you come out, you risk your life and government cannot take responsibility of what happens to you afterwards or even protect you while you are disobeying IPOB. So you see, the masses have seen that. So coming to Anambra election, since that power, they have seen that they have the power. Somehow, they are trying to exercise it, if not abusing it,
Yes.
by asking people to sit at home for 1 week. So for me, as an individual, it's not a welcome development, but eventually you will still see that it will still have effect. Even if it's not being observed 100%, it will still have effect because some people are afraid of dying.
We already know that the federal government has stated, in non-uncertain terms, without equivocation, that it was sending, thousands and thousands of security men, police, military, that is the army, civil defense, and what have you. We already heard that. And I'm sure that Buhari is not going to go back on his words about that. But the question is that, is it worth it? There is also this thing that we say in political science that you cannot force ideology on a people. You cannot export ideology. Ideology evolves from what we call the socioeconomic and political experiences of people. What is happening is something that you cannot explain outside the context of the experience of the Igbo people and the Anambra people in particular. Now, yes, there will be heavy, by virtue of what the president said, there will be heavy military presence or security presence, and that may even complicate the whole thing. I am of the opinion that had the president given opportunity for dialogue all this while, perhaps we will not get to the point where we are today.
If you ask me as an individual, the heavier the security presence, if I am an Anambra person to vote, I will sit at home.
Okay.
Without even the order.
Because of fear of unknown.
Yes, because of the fear of unknown. Because if there is any exchange of bullets, it is the unsuspecting masses that will suffer it. It's not the military, because the military will protect the INEC first. They won't protect you, the voter. So even without this sit at home, with that kind of heavy military presence, me as an individual, I will sit at home.
I don't think the election will hold because with what's going on now, the election won't hold at all. Because the insecurity in our country now is like, and is into another level now. The insecurity is now like too much. Okay, before 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, everybody's outside. But immediately it's 5:30, well, you don't see anybody outside again. And they expect us on that election that we should come out and vote. I don't think the election will hold.
I think it's going to affect the election because people are going to be afraid. People are going to be afraid to come outside to elect because when they cannot even come outside to even go and do their normal business, something that's going to give them money, something like their means of livelihood, then how do you think they're going to be confident enough to come outside to do election? So I think they're going to sit at home.
If there are only 20 people that turns out at the election, and they say they have conducted election considering the antecedents of this APC government, they will declare somebody a winner, even if there are only 20 people that came there. So now you begin to ask this question. If they would declare somebody that you may not have liked to be in that office the winner, do you have any choice? Do you have any choice? You may not have any choice. So I am of the opinion that if IPOB would vote, but pick somebody that will speak the language of IPOB, that has the interest of the Igbos, that whose interest is running, in pari passu, in tandem with the interest of IPOB, since IPOB is working for the interest of the Igbos. Why can't IPOB support one individual considering its numerical strength? IPOB has a large numerical strength that they can use to upset any other individual. That can be done. And that person can go to the House of Representatives or Senate or whatever, or Governors Forum, and begin to speak the language, that represent the interests of the Igbos, like Senator Abaribe is doing. So for me, I think that IPOB needs to get some kind of homework done. But unfortunately, IPOB is very anti-intellectualism. IPOB does not like the language of people who try to be analytical and objective about this. IPOB prefer people come and shout and curse and, do all manner of things that may even, create disaffection or rather kill the sympathy that people have for IPOB, including those outside the Southeast.
Okay. You're welcome back. Some people believe that this sit-at-home order is a way to rig the election in disguise because majority of the people are already scared for their lives and in a way disenfranchised. So it is mostly those who have vested interest that will come out and cast their votes. And at the end of the day, you can even predict how the election will go. Let's have a prediction on what the outcome of the election will be in Anambra State. Of course, we will acknowledge your views and predictions. Like and share this post and follow us for more engaging episodes on Views and Opinion on MCCP TV. My name is Olama Vivian Chinana. Please stay safe.